The first shriek tore through the quiet afternoon like a gunshot. "What in God's name do you think you are doing?" Her voice. A guttural, enraged bellow. Ripped the silence of our cul-de-sac apart. Before I could even turn fully. She was there. A whirlwind of suburban indignation. Her perfectly coiffed hair a chaotic halo around her furious face. My heart hammered against my ribs. A frenzied drum solo against the unexpected violence of her presence. That fence. It's on HOA land. It's blocking the trail. She pointed a trembling, manicured finger at the shimmering silver chain link. Her nails chipped and white at the tips from clenching her fists. The nerve. The absolute, unmitigated nerve. It was a performance for the ages. A theatrical display of righteous fury that would have won her a Golden Globe if the stage weren't my front lawn. But I wasn't just an audience member. I was the target. A slow, frustrated breath escaped my lips. I couldn't believe this was happening. Not after all the paperwork. Not after all the planning. It's not on HOA land. Janice. I said. My voice trying to remain calm. A fragile shield against her onslaught. My name is Alex. And for the past 6 months, I'd been living in a cold war with Janice. The self-appointed queen of our neighborhood's HOA. Our battles had been minor skirmishes, a misplaced trash can. The shade of my house is trim, but this was an all-out declaration of war. My wife, Sarah, stepped out onto the porch. Her hand on the doorknob. Her eyes wide with apprehension. Janice. Please. We can talk about this. Talk. Janice's laugh was a high-pitched, incredulous bark. There's nothing to talk about. You're in violation of Article 17. Subsection B. The communal path. There is no communal path. A soft, measured voice cut through the air. It was old Mr. Henderson. Our next-door neighbor. A man so quiet you'd forget he existed until you saw him trimming his rose bushes with the patience of a saint. He stood at the edge of his property. His hands clasped behind his back. His gaze steady on Janice. That trail has always been part of Alex's property. Janice froze. Her face a comical mask of shock. The script of her tirade suddenly forgotten. What? That's ridiculous. I've been riding my ATV on that trail for years. It's a throughway to the creek. A throughway you've been trespassing on. Mr. Henderson corrected gently. His tone devoid of malice, yet carrying the weight of indisputable truth. He walked slowly to a small, weathered oak tree, reaching into its hollow. From it, he pulled a brittle, yellowed blueprint. My family helped build this subdivision. This map, it shows the original survey lines from 1978. See this line here. His finger. A gnarled, age-spotted twig. Traced a faint, dotted line. That's the border. The trail cuts a full 15 feet into Alex's land. It's not, and has never been, HOA property. The silence that followed was deafening, punctuated only by a gust of wind rattling the leaves on the trees. Janice's face went from furious red to a pale, sickly white. The truth. A simple, undeniable fact. Had landed like a gut punch. A sudden, unexpected sigh escaped my lips. A release of the tension that had been coiling in my chest for months. Was this it? Was the madness finally over? But a true Karen doesn't crumble so easily. Her eyes narrowed. The fury returning. But this time. It was a cold, venomous flame. This is a fake. A forgery. You're conspiring against me. She lunged, snatching the blueprint from Mr. Henderson's hand. Her fingers tearing a corner. I'll have the entire board at your door by sundown. You can't just steal community land. That was the twist. We knew the blueprint was genuine. And so did Mr. Henderson. What we didn't know was that Janice had a reputation. A long history of this exact behavior. Her self-righteousness was a paper-thin veneer for a deeply insecure woman who couldn't stand being wrong. And Mr. Henderson, the quiet old man, had been watching. Waiting. The past year hadn't just been my battle. It had been his. And dozens of others. He'd meticulously documented her tantrums. Her threats. Her disregard for others. She was a known quantity. A ticking time bomb. Don't bother. I said. A new confidence surging through me. I pulled out my phone. I already called them. Janice's eyes darted from my phone to the ripped blueprint. Who? The police. This is a civil matter. She spat. But her voice lacked its earlier conviction. No. Janice. Not the board. The sheriff's office. And the zoning commission. The words felt like a cool balm on a raw wound. This isn't a civil matter anymore. When you trespassed onto my property and started causing a disturbance, you made it a police matter. Her face was a masterpiece of horrified realization. The sound of a siren. Distant at first. Then growing louder. Sealed her fate. My personal touch. A little note scribbled on a piece of paper I'd taped to the inside of my front door. Read, don't engage. Just document. Call sheriff if she touches anything. I had prepared for her. Knowing her temperament. Knowing that words alone would never be enough. The sheriff's car pulled up. Followed closely by a smaller, unmarked vehicle. A tall, serious-looking man with a clipboard stepped out of the second car. Mr. Alex? He asked. His gaze settling on me. I'm with the zoning commission. Mr. Henderson called us. And I called the sheriff. I added. Gesturing to the deputy who was now calmly approaching Janice. The deputy spoke to Janice. His tone firm but professional. Ma'am. We have multiple reports of harassment and trespass. We've also been made aware of a history of similar incidents. Can you please step away from the property line? Janice sputtered. Stammered. And finally fell silent. It was a spectacular collapse. The theatrical Karen. The one who ruled our neighborhood with an iron fist of bylaws and gossip. Was now reduced to a whimpering mess. Cornered by facts and consequences. She looked at me. At Mr. Henderson. At the growing number of neighbors peeking out their windows. And all the bluster drained out of her. The zoning commission representative. After reviewing the blueprint and a fresh survey map I had ready. Confirmed it all. The fence was not only legal but perfectly positioned on my property. He even noted the signs I'd posted months ago, small, almost invisible signs that Janice had clearly ignored, warning against trespassing. Janice's citation was for trespassing. Disturbing the peace. And destruction of private property, a symbolic jab at the now-ripped blueprint. The ATV trail. Her personal kingdom. Was gone forever. It was a harsh, but deserved, ending for her reign of terror. As the squad car pulled away, I stood there, leaning against my new fence. The afternoon sun warm on my face. Mr. Henderson gave me a small, knowing smile before retreating back to his roses. My wife, Sarah, came out and hugged me. You did it, she whispered, her voice full of pride and relief. The collective sigh of the neighborhood was almost audible. We had all been held hostage by her whims. But no more. Standing up for my land hadn't just secured my property line. It had restored a sense of peace and justice to our little corner of the world. It was a powerful lesson in the quiet strength of truth. And the importance of knowing when to stop arguing and start documenting. The question is, was the punishment for Janice too severe? Or did she finally get what she deserved? What's your take on it? Let me know in the comments.